5 minutes this time. Right, so it's interesting that there was no disclaimer before welcoming me to speak, but it's a little bit too late for that now, so here I am and carry on. I would like to thank Alex for his kind words on behalf of the bridesmaids and for everybody else who he thanked, so thank you, or thank you now. So I'm Sam, and it was kind of my job to explain how Alex has managed to do so well for himself, but he's already said that by saying I was incredibly persistent, and so he's kind of given away his secret there, so fortunately I don't have to unravel that for you, because I think we would all agree that he's done very, very well for himself.
Yes, I have.
So, as Alex has told you, we met at Rawlings, and you could tell from the fact that there was no cheer after he said Rawlings. That tells you basically everything you need to know about that school. It wasn't brilliant. There's one particular thing that stands in my memory. It was at an assembly we had the headmaster called Mr. Brindley, and I wonder how many of you who went to Rawlings remember Brindley's Law? Do you remember Brindley's Law? So the concept of his big motivational law was to have high aspirations, and then if you don't meet that target, you will still do quite well. If you don't get 100%, you might get 95%, and it's kind of good. But the way he worded it wasn't brilliant. It was aim high, get high. And me and Alex weren't really cool enough to do drugs. So we had a few lessons together, and that's how we became friends. We ended up sitting next to each other and talking. One of the subjects we had together was science. I once stopped Alex from blinding another classmate in science. Accidentally squirted a pipette of acid into his eye, and I was feeling very sheepish for what he'd done, but didn't say anything. So I was like, Miss, Alex has squirted acid into Nick's eye. not his brother. And the poor lad had to run to the back of the classroom where they store all the chemicals and strip off all this stuff on his top, and have his face and his eye rinsed out. And then he had to come back in through the classroom. We're all teenagers and everybody's embarrassed about their bodies, etc. during this time, but because of Alex, he had to walk through the whole classroom with shirtless and put his coat on, and he had to wear his coat for the rest of the day. Which is quite funny. We also framed the same person for filling the classroom with smoke. We were tasked with melting sugar, and who doesn't love playing around with a Bunsen burner, right? So me and Alex discovered if you burned the sugar, for some reason you could then light the gas that came out of the sugar on the end of the test tube and have basically just a flaming test tube. We did this, filled the classroom with smoke, and then taught our good friend Nick this trick. And the moment Nick did it, the teacher walked back into the classroom and berated poor Nick for a good 5 minutes. He did a proper shouting with the spit and everything. We don't really hear too much from Nick anymore. It wasn't just Alex, I was partially involved. We also studied ICT together, where we learnt about how to emulate computer games, Game Boy emulators, MSN Messenger, so we could go on chat rooms together, and basically not much learning took place in that classroom, I don't think. One particular time, we had managed to install a full game called Unreal Tournament, and we were playing a deathmatch, a local area network game of Unreal Tournament in the middle of the classroom, which is very, very, very naughty. And our teacher, Mr. Bumford, what a great name. Mr. Bumford came in, and we all froze. Like, we can't close this quick enough, and we're all in the trouble. And he just said, "Get me on this." I think he pushed someone to the side, and we actually played Unreal Tournament with Mr. Bumford.
We did. He wasn't very good.
We don't hear from Mr. Bumford anymore. We also shared English class. I've still not learned English. And then we had the story that Alex just told you about going to Loughborough College. So we didn't particularly enjoy Rawlins, so we'd made an agreement that we would meet each other after the summer at Loughborough College. And because Alex didn't hold my hand through the application process, I basically made no effort at all to hold up my end of the bargain and stayed on at Rawlins for sixth form. So Alex arrived at Loughborough College and I wasn't there. Sorry. So we didn't really speak that much in the meantime. Occasionally I would see him at Tesco's, but we didn't talk that much because I was mainly out just flabbergasted at how bad his hair was. So I would see him and I'd go, "Oh, hey Alex, how are you doing? Hi. Your hair's awful." But fortunately, we met again at Sheffield Hallam University. I was walking from the library towards the atrium, and Alex was walking from the atrium towards the library. And we recognised each other, and then we had a really big long conversation, and I was hosting a house party, and I had about 3 people coming. So I was like, "Alex, come to my house party, it'd be really good." And Alex turned up, and it was lovely. We had probably about 4 people there, and we were all drinking. But Alex at that time didn't drink, but somehow he still managed to spit an entire mouthful of Dr. Pepper, projectile style, across my lounge and all over the carpet. But he wasn't even drunk, so I must have said something really inappropriate or really funny, which is unusual. And I'm really annoyed that I can't remember what it was that I said. So I was going to try and come up with a funny or inappropriate joke, but I thought this isn't perhaps the right occasion. So I also considered maybe trying to impress you with some spelling, and I was going to attempt to spell asparagus, but I'm really not feeling up to it. So we lived together for 2 years, and nothing makes you bond with another person quite like surviving off crisps and sugary drinks. We used to have like a competition. Basically, we would stock up on crisps and fizzy drinks, and then it was just every man for themselves. You eat the crisps and the drinks as quick as you can, so that you get more of them than the other person. And, we were quite good at that, and I often would lose interest in staying at home, and I would go off into town and see different friends when the food ran out. And the one thing that I knew was safe was my beer, because Alex didn't like beer. So I had a fridge full of Budweiser that I hadn't drunk. And one time I came home and I encountered an unusually cheerful Alex, who was delighted to tell me that he had taught himself how to like beer. And coincidentally, all my Budweisers have gone. He drank an entire crate in an afternoon. So we've done, since living together, we've done lots of cool stuff. We went on holiday to Wales, and we built the biggest, best, coolest sandcastle ever. Honestly, the sandcastle doesn't sound that good, but if you're friends with them on Facebook, go and look at this ancient video that's in like 3 pixels wide by 2 pixels high. It's terrible quality, but we built this huge sandcastle, and we were quite tired. We'd been doing it for about 2 hours, and then we were walking back, and then we were like, "Oh, there's like a stream there. What if we redirect the stream so that our castle can have a moat?" And it was dark by the time we finished, but it was really it's the coolest sandcastle in the world. And we had a proper spade, and I dug so hard that Nick had to pry my hand open from the spade because we'd spent so long digging the sand. There was a couple who were overlooking us from a static caravan that overlooked the beach, and they were so impressed that they came down and helped, and they were like proper adults. It was incredible. We've also played a lot of badminton together. Last time we played singles, I won. It was about 8 years ago. And we also played a lot of poker together while Alex was on his placement year. He would come over to my parents' house, and we would stay up till like 5 a.m. playing poker, Risk, Monopoly, even cheat. And it was good. We spent a lot of time together during Alex's placement year, and that's probably where we really cemented our friendship, I would say. I'm going to tell you an embarrassing story about me, so that I can tell lots more embarrassing stories about Alex and not feel so guilty. So we had a Dyson Hoover in the house that we shared in Sheffield, and when you wrap up the cord for a Hoover, I was unravelling it at the same, like you would do to tie it up, and I was spending ages tying it back up after I'd done I probably hoovered like a square metre. And Alex was like, oh, you can just spin this little dial around and all the cables drop off. You don't need to manually wind it. And apparently you taught Kaylee that as well. He told this story to my mother, and my mother now believes I'm an idiot. So probably Amy would agree that I maybe can't still use a Hoover, but my mum always says, oh, remember that time when Alex had to teach you to use the Hoover? I was like, no, you didn't have to teach me to use the Hoover, it's one tiny little clip. So thanks for that, because I get told that every Christmas. So some people might look at Alex and his profession and maybe think that he might be quite tech savvy. It hasn't always been that way. One time when we were living in Sheffield, I was playing. We had a pool table in our lounge. It was not a full size pool table, and it wobbled when you leant on it. But me and another friend were doing our best to play a game of pool while Alex was waiting for his turn. He was sat on a chair in the corner with his brand new mobile phone. And he was, oh, this phone's great. It's got voice dialing. This is incredible. You can say someone's name and it'll voice dial them. So Alex decides that he's not interested in playing the pool because he's experimenting with this new phone. And probably 3 or 4 games took place where Alex sat in the corner and went, call mum and dad. Call Nick at home. No. Call mum and dad. Call Nick at home. Right. Call Sam on mobile. Call Nick at home. Literally, about an hour and a half of this, Alex realises the only contact in his phone is still saved on the SIM card, and there were no other contacts in the phone, so no wonder it was always calling. I almost couldn't breathe because I was laughing so much. Brilliant. Another thing that Alex is sometimes embarrassed about is making phone calls that he doesn't want to make. One time when we were at university, I blackmailed him because he had just started a new phone contract and didn't want to ring up and cancel his old one, but it was costing him quite a lot of money. So he came to me and he shared this predicament. He's like, I hate ringing call centres. Can you do it for me? And I was like, I can get something out of this. I can work this to my advantage. So I agreed that I would ring them up and cancel Alex's unnecessary phone contract if he bought me a pizza of my choosing for us to eat for dinner that night. So I rang up from Alex's mobile and said, hello, I'm ringing on behalf of a friend who would like to cancel his contract. And they said, oh, we can't talk to you. So I passed the phone to Alex. He had the conversation, and I ordered the largest pizza. It was 18 inches. You had to tip it to get it through the door. It was amazing. It was a good pizza. It was a very good pizza. So, there's one more story about making phone calls, and this is while I was the one who'd got a new phone, but I had Exchange ActiveSync on my phone, so all my contacts came through automatically. And Alex's number was right there, but I wanted to make a test phone call. And I was in quite a jovial mood. I decided that I would ring Alex up and I would pretend I was doing a bit of a prank call. So I rang up Alex and he answered, and I was like, oh, press 1 if you normally wear glasses. And he was like, what? Who is this? I was like, oh, it's Sam. No, I didn't say that. I just said, do you normally wear glasses? And then this went back and forth for a little while with me being really annoying. And eventually Alex just was like, who is this? And I was like, it's Sam, you knob. And he was like, this isn't Alex. And I was like, oh, yeah, this isn't Alex. It just sounds exactly like Alex, just a little bit slower. He's like, this is Brian. You've rang our landline. Alex doesn't live here anymore. It was a few years before I could let Brian. Brian isn't an op, he's quite nice. Again, I'm very sorry for harassing you with your own home. So, talking about parents, I know Alex is, as he said, he's extremely grateful for his upbringing, despite how strict and how much he didn't like you. Do you remember when you took us home from university from Sheffield back to Loughborough?
Oh,
You gave us a lift once, and before you arrived, about 15 minutes before you arrived, I was briefed by Alex to not let on how much he respected you. He was like, don't tell my dad how much I like him. It would just go to his head. he really admires both of you, even if he isn't particularly good at articulating it sometimes. One thing he always used to like to tell us, and it's a really small little detail, but he loved knowing where he was going to sit in exams. He was like, oh, my name's Alex Allen, so I'll be near the front. He was delighted with that. So if you're thinking about naming a child, give them a name that begins with A so they can be at the top of the list. You really did tell us every single exam. Oh, I'll be at the front. I know where I am. I know where I am. So, I need a prop shortly, so I'm just going to grab this. Not yet, but I don't want to be on. So, this brings me on to Alex liking his name and being at the front of this. This brings me on to the names. If any of you know me, you'll know that I love giving people nicknames. I've got a friend who I call Spade, Triangle Man, Squareface, Gap Eye, Triangle Man, Angry Tim, German Tim, Better Tim. I've got nicknames for everyone, even KZ. That does sound really cool, but the origins of that were because I really struggled to spell Kaylee. So I would just write KZ, because you can't just write K, because it might be confused with OK. So I would always write KZ. And even up to about 3 months ago, we went out for dinner, and Alex was like, so can you spell Kaylee? And I was like, no. So, you can see written on this cue card, it just says KZ, and I did get it correct when we went out for dinner last night. I can, oh my goodness, I can now spell Kaylee.
I'm so proud of you, Steph, you can do this.
KZ.
Yeah?
You
You can put that on your fridge, you can do whatever. That's good evidence, don't throw it away.
I'll first try.
So, I'm going to ask you to stand for this bit, Alex. There's nothing to worry about. Your hair looks fine today. It's all good. I realised that I don't have a nickname for Alex. There's plenty of insults. Give Hatch, old man, Alice on occasion. But no nickname. And as I was writing this down when I was planning my speech after you asked me to be best man, I wondered why we were so close. I don't have a nickname for you. It's just because you're my best friend. I'm supposed to compose myself during the home, not after. So yeah, you can see that. I always introduce, when I'm talking about Alex to people that I don't know, my best friend Alex. And yeah, I just think that's brilliant. But you two now, today, have something even better than that. You can call each other, you might want to cheer, husband and wife. So, I spoke to Alex a year before he proposed to you, and tried to in the most subtle way, tell him, you've got a really good thing here, what are you doing? Have you got a plan? Are you making sure you're going to sort this out long term? So I was naturally delighted when you got engaged. I was really, really pleased to hear that Alex had got around to asking and that you had said yes. That was brilliant. Well done. So then I anxiously waited for a few days to see who you would choose as best man. And barring an unexpected return of Paul, the guy who thought he was a cat, or Jums, I thought it might be down between me and Nick. And Nick is brilliant. Nick is a really nice guy. And I was so happy when you chose me. You could see my reaction on Skype. I was just... might have cried. So, yeah, it's really good. And I knew that you were great for each other. And I'm not going to go on about how you're so perfectly matched, etc. Because it's so obvious. You just look at you two, how you are today, how you're so happy. You're set for forever now. It's brilliant. So, I'm just going to end on a little bit of advice. I'm not married, so bear with me if it's not that good. Don't. So I always say